All right, so today we're gonna cover the best side control escape to master first, which is gonna be where we connect our elbow and our knee by using hip escapes. So we also call this the elbow escape, but this time we're doing it from side control. So let's go first here. Natalia has an underhook and she has a crossface here, and she has her hip tied. The first frame we're gonna look to make is always the frame on the hip here. If I don't get this frame in here, I'm not gonna escape. It's gonna be really hard to use this escape. Okay, this is the first frame we should make. Even if she's tight with her hips, what I can do is I can look to bridge and slide my elbow in, okay? I should always work to get this frame at the hip in. Notice that I'm not using my hand, I'm just using my forearm here on the hip. So that's the first frame, we always get it. So we just call this the first frame, and you gotta get this in first, okay? Second is we want a frame in front of her neck. If she's just sitting tall, we can just slide this hand in and grab right here at the bone by her shoulder here and dig our fingers in. Okay, from here, when we've dug our fingers in, we can open our elbow and use that to make space. Okay, so if we feel like there's space here, we can just look to slide that hand in, bury the fingers, and now we just open our elbow just to make some space. Okay, we're gonna show how we deal with this tighter crossface later, but let's just start with this. From here, I'm gonna look to plant my outside foot, my left foot. I'm gonna hip escape out, hip escape out, hip escape out. Oh, she's holding on, hip escape out, hip escape out. I'm moving from flat on my back to being on my side. And from here, I'm gonna bring in my knee to connect with my elbow. So if Natalia moves away, you can see that I have this V here, which is also called a side guard, where I'm on my shoulder here, one hip and one shoulder, and I connected my elbow to my knee here. So I'm making this V. When I get this, I'm basically out. It's gonna be so hard for her to get back in. Okay, so let's go back. We're gonna do another angle in a moment. So from here, first bump, get on your side and get this forearm in by the hip. Second is we want this forearm frame in front of the neck. Let's just start with like someone with poor head position, just to practice getting this in. I dig the fingers down, and now I don't push with my hands, I just open my elbow. Flare my elbow, you see how that brings her head up. This will give me space so there's not that much chest to chest pressure. From here, I plant my left leg on the mat. I step outside of my hip, and I start to hip escape and go from being flat on two shoulders and two hips to moving to one hip and one shoulder here. My right shoulder and my right hip. From here, I slide my knee in and connect knee to elbow, and now I'm in a good position where I can swim my hands inside, open up space, and recover to whatever I like, okay? Whether it be a half guard or a close guard. All right, so let's just look at the movement solo here. So if Natalia just moves to the side. So I start flat on my back. I get my frame in. Okay, and you should, when you're getting past, you should already be on your side, but we're just assuming the worst, right? We got flattened out and now we have to move to the side. So get the first frame in. I'm already starting to move to my side here, moving my left hip and my left shoulder off the mat. Swim my second frame in on the neck, plant my fingers, and I'm flaring my elbow. Now my left foot here, I step it outside my hip to be able to hip escape more efficiently. As I hip escape along the mat, I go from being flat on my back to more and more on just one hip and one shoulder. And then I'm gonna insert this knee. When I insert the knee, I make sure my foot is higher than my knee. If my knee is higher than my foot, I won't be able to slide into the crease of her hip here. So make sure this is tight, my foot is higher than my knee, and now everything comes in, okay? Now, if we're dealing with a more advanced partner, someone who's better keeping their head low and they're squeezing the cross face, what we can look to do is we can look to do a bridge, where I bridge out to the side here, and look how I move her head with my bridge. So I'm moving her head by basically, I'm bridging towards the corner here, and I'm extending my arm. So my left arm is extending, and I'm bridging up, pushing off my toes here. Now, when we come back, I look to slide this forearm in, and I'm not gonna be gentle about it. I want it in front of her face here. Dig the fingers in, frame on the hip. I plant that foot outside my hip, and I start to hip escape. Hip escape, she starts following me. Just escape out, out. The more I'm on my side, the easier it's gonna be to get rid of the finger. Now, if she's still holding on here at this point, what you can do is you can look to swim your right arm here. You can swim your right hand inside to make a frame on your face. Use that to open up and push away. At this point here, a lot of people make the mistake of just throwing their leg on the back, but I still haven't recovered a proper guard yet. So she can push down my knee and just look to pass again. Okay, and I lost everything I worked for. So at this point here, when we extended ourselves, it's important that we bring this inside leg in. Okay, so my outside foot, I can plant it on the mat, or I can swim it in as a knee shield, or I can step on her hip, but I'm gonna I need to transfer some weight, some force into this knee so I can pull this second leg out and either lock a half guard or go across the body for close guard, K guard, or just a foot on the hip and build up to a seated butterfly. But I have to get this leg out from this side guard position and either in between the legs or across the thigh here. Okay, so don't stop here because she's just gonna pass you again. Okay, make sure you bring this leg in proper first. Throwing this leg on the back does nothing in terms of stopping her passing to this side. It does nothing. Okay, she can pass to this side, but this side is technically still open. Once I get a grip here, now it's harder for her to pass to this side as well, and I can actually start to attack. Okay, so last look at the hip escape. When I hip escape, guys, I don't just step my foot on the mat. I make sure my foot is close to my butt, and I'm actually looking to step outside my hip. So look here, my foot. When I step outside my hip, I get more range, so I can pull myself more to the side. If I just step inside my hip, I can move it out a bit, but I get more range when I step my foot outside and go in here. Elbow and knee connected. Okay, so this is the position. We should think about this as the same position as a late stage guard retention. So if Natalia comes in, tries to pass my guard, and maybe I'm a little bit slow, she starts to get to the side, I already have this side guard. It's the same principle. She can put a ton of weight on me here. She can really lean in, and if she can't get between my elbow and my knee here, I can recover fairly easy, even if it was an opponent who was a lot bigger than me, okay? Which is not the case now. So have these things in mind. Think about, you want to reconnect your elbow and your knee. You want a good frame on the upper body. Make sure you're not pushing with the hand, but you're opening the elbow. And make sure when you hip escape that you go from being flat to being on one hip and one shoulder, elbows and knees connected. Sliding this knee in is going to be a lot easier with the foot high instead of with the foot low. Okay, so these are some of the general pointers for the basic elbow, knee elbow hip escape from side control. We could go into much more depth. There's a lot of variations to this, but this should be the baseline when you're looking to